no matter what I do otherwise, no matter what I say from this point out, God just wants me to give the best message I can. And, He, honestly, God, the entity that we could, not entity, because entity is a word, the amazing, thing that is all, okay, that is in me and in you and outside of you and all around and everything, that frequency, I hate to say this, but it does not care if exactly that human beings go on. It doesn't care. It loves you whether you're here or not. It'll remember you. Say, hey, in remembrance of humans. Cool, that was cool. That was a cool little period of time I had for that little blip that humans were around. Now what? That's really deep and really harsh to say, but that's really how it is. If we aren't here, stuff's going to go on just in its own way. And it's going to be interpreted through its own minds and through the new bodies through the new things it embodies, and however its new methods of experience are. If we develop too many things that are more advanced than us, that can turn out to be more advanced than us, we will make ourselves obsolete. So, honestly, I care because I'm still a human, and Dan Alexander is sort of scared because I'm thinking to myself, like, if that happened, I know that I'd be fine. There could be a spiritual war, and that could actually interfere on another plane instead of this one. Like, wouldn't that suck if the afterlife could be invaded because of the negative stuff we're making now with negative vibes in the afterlife? That kind of stuff can happen. You don't understand all the different realities that I've seen possible, and they can all happen because when you have a nightmare, that's like your soul's torture. It's not just your body doing it. Everyone has their own nightmares. That's like your soul's torture, okay? Like, imagine if the things you thought in your nightmares, if you didn't become one with the divine spirit, if we all became one with the divine spirit and realized blah, 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 we'd be so happy. We would be so happy we wouldn't think those things. And if we thought those things, we'd like them. And we'd just picture them as images and enjoy them instead of be like, oh, that was bloody, ew. We'd be like, well, no matter what we imaged, it would be joyous. You know what I mean? So if something accidentally happened and somebody cut their arm, you'd be like, oh, I'm sure that hurts, let me help you. But then deep down inside, it doesn't bother you, but you know to help out of compassion, out of pure love. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't want to be gruesome. If someone gets smushed, you're like, oh, that sucks so bad. But, it's not going to shake you one way or the other than now you lost that form of whatever. Like, a butterfly is magnificently beautiful, but if it flies out into the street and it lands up on a grill of the next semi that goes by, you're not like, oh, my life is over. But that little piece of soul was just as much of a piece of soul as your mom and dad. I love my mom and dad, especially in a human form, but I unconditionally love them beyond that, more than Dan Alexander ever loved them. So when I say stuff like when my mom and dad die, it's not going to bother me. Hell yeah, it's going to bother me. I'll bawl my eyes out. I will bawl my eyes out, and it'll be the most meaningful one because I understand love, man. I cry about a lot of stuff because I understand it all and I feel it all, but I feel the joy in it too. It's like joy and pain all at the same time. And when you can accept them, it becomes beautiful. It's all beautiful. It doesn't make sense, but you'll get it. So I don't know exactly where I was trying to go with it, but I just have so much love pulsing through me right now. I just feel like I need to keep talking to me, to you, to us. Like when somebody, I don't know who else does this out there, but other people I'm sure record themselves talking, or when you write stuff down in a journal and you're talking to yourself, you feel like weird because you're talking to yourself, but at the same time you feel like it makes sense. That's you talking to the God inside of you. That's you talking to God, and sometimes, almost every day, it's God talking to you. It's the God interpreting things the way it can interpret it through your brain, through your body, through your experience, and explaining things to you that are helping you go to the next place. And even though it sounds weird where it says, oh, itch your nose, if you don't itch your nose, there's a bacteria there that might infect and turn into a zit, that if you go to say hello to the girl at the store, she'll notice a new zit, and that day, at that time, her frequency was weird and received that zit imagery in her mind as, oh, I don't really want to hang out with that guy, he doesn't clean himself. Something that small, an itch on your face. Do you see how things can really, the frequency of movement, the frequency of thought, the frequency of sound, the frequency of our senses are just one level of consciousness. The frequency of imagination that you couldn't imagine, just how I said that with scratching your nose turning into a bacteria that's a zit, that blah, 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 that kind of stuff is happening billions of times every second in every person, in every blade of grass that blows left or right with the wind. I mean, it's not as the cause and effect means nothing on some of them. It blows left, guess what the cause and effect are? It blows back to the right. Like nothing that big. Things do affect things on a cosmic level. If it goes to the right now, guess what? In a second it's going to go to the left, but it went to the left now, it's going to go in a second it's going to the right. So everything is a different dimensional thing. But in that dimensional thing of a blade of grass, a grass could only picture itself swaying left or right or getting plucked. And then it would dry up and it would die, and its grass spirit would go into the ether, and the piece of grass would either be devoured by something or dissolve into the ground and go in its spirit quest that way. It sounds really silly, but I hope that makes sense.